So I have maybe to take the award.
Yeah. Don't forget.
So, this, Monsieur le Président, this award is, of course, to recognize your significant contribution, particularly with regard to, as we said, to the unity of Europe and to the transatlantic relationship. It's not the Luxembourg Bridge, but it looks like a great bridge. It's a suspension bridge, as we say, and we felt this was a perfect metaphor. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I let the floor to the President. Thank you.
Good idea. Dear Suzanne, cher Maxime, dear members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, I was starting this morning at 5:15, and it looks like that. But nevertheless, it's a real pleasure to be here tonight. I'm told that I have always to start my speeches by saying that I'm happy to be there. It's not always true. But tonight it's true. Because we needed years to come together, although I was watching with sympathy from far. But it's better to see you live and in colors. It's a pleasure to be here tonight because I'm honored to receive this award. This award is important to me because it symbolizes a lot of what I have tried to achieve the last 5 years, in fact, all my life. I must say that building bridges is not a one-man job, although one cannot succeed alone. There must be support from every side. Building bridges, either in politics or in business, is about people and about personal relationships. The first thing to know about our transatlantic relationship and what makes it so special is that it is first and foremost a friendship. Allow me to tell you a story close to my heart. Not far away from where I was born in Luxembourg. I know that you have more employees, that Luxembourg has inhabitants. It doesn't matter. The quality is what matters. Luxembourg is the only Grand Duchy worldwide, the only one. And I'm always telling the Russians and the Chinese, why did Luxembourg never attack China or the former Soviet Union? There is one simple reason: we don't have space enough to put the prisoners in. So, don't confuse size and quality. Not far away from where I was born in Luxembourg is a small town called Wiltz. During the Second World War, Wiltz was hit very hard during the Battle of the Bulge, which for the Americans was the deadliest single battle of the Second World War. When Wiltz was liberated, a young corporal from the US Army's 28th Infantry Division called Richard Bookins decided to bring cheer to the children of the town by dressing up as St. Nicholas. That day, in December 1944, Mr. Bookins became a hero for the people of Wiltz. He was such a rare beacon of hope for a town that had lost everything. Mr. Bookins went back to Wiltz many times to fulfill his duty as the American St. Nicholas. Just 3 years ago, at the age of 49, he was awarded the highest military honor of Luxembourg, joining, by the way, the likes of President Eisenhower, Winston Churchill, and Charles de Gaulle. You see the cortege of Mr. Bookins was part of. It's important important to remind ourselves of stories like this. The people of Wiltz, like so many other Europeans, have a very special and profound friendship with the United States of America. The second thing to know about a friendship like ours is that there is always something that we can learn from each and other. The United States and the European Union are the biggest economic powers in the world. We are allies and we often think alike, but also regularly disagree with each other and sometimes have a very different political, economic, or social agenda. This is why we need to build bridges. Over the years, I have traveled to the US many times, and I have met with a number of presidents, as I'm a veteran. President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, and now President Trump. I remember my first visit to the White House in August '95. I was then a rather young prime minister. President Clinton had been in office for over 2 years, and he said, "Please, could you explain euro to me?" I was trying. I said, "It's ununderstandable, but it works." And I started to explain to Bill Clinton the Economic and Monetary Union, the internal market, stuff like that. I said, no, what about Turkey? When will Turkey become a member of the European Union? In '95. There is bigger progress in the world than on that very point. But I have discovered over the years, every American president wants to know how Europe works when they are about halfway through their term. By the end, they know us better than we know ourselves. In July last year, I met with President Trump at the White House, and as a gift, I offered him a photo of a military cemetery in Luxembourg, where General Patton is buried. And I wrote, "Dear Donald, let us remember our common history." And I wanted to remind President Trump that I was there as a friend. And by the way, this American cemetery in Luxembourg has been given as a gift, as a territory, to the US. If a small country like the Grand Duchy is offering part of its territory to the leading nation of the world, you can see what friendship really means. We did not do it with Germany for obvious reasons. We didn't do it with Belgium for understandable reasons. Because Belgium is preventing Luxembourg from having a free access to the oceans. And we didn't do it with France, and we would have had good reasons to do so. I also wanted him to know that when the European Union stands on the international stage, we do so with the backing of every member state and of our 5 million citizens. That at least the explanation I'm giving to the US presidents when I'm at the White House. This is how the European Union does business. And I was in Washington last year in July to do business. At that point, we agreed to launch a new phase in the transatlantic relationship. For example, we agreed to strengthen our cooperation on energy and to increase trade in several areas. And we are sticking to our words. A year after my meeting with President Trump, the European Union has increased its imports of liquefied gas, natural gas, from the US by over 350%. And the US has become Europe's #1 supplier of soybeans. We are delivering on what we agreed to do, as friends and partners do. This tells a story of a relationship that can work for both of us. And at a time when stability comes at a premium, we must hold on what that works. This is the third thing to say about a friendship like ours. We both need it. We share the same challenges, from climate change and migration to peace and security. We have different views on some of these issues, but that should never prevent us from looking for global solutions. Today, our economies are more intertwined than ever before. We trade roughly $1 trillion worth of goods and services every year with each other. This is nearly a third of the global trade. The president is always saying that the balance between Europe and the US is not fair when it comes to trade. He forgets to mention that if you include financial services in the comparison, the picture is totally opposite. I'm telling him this again and again and again. He listens, but he doesn't believe it. So when I was at the White House in July, I was mentioning these figures, and he said, I don't trust your figures. I said, these are the figures of the US administration. Please believe them. But trade is so much more than simply numbers. Trade is about people's livelihoods and jobs. Trade wars are easy to start, but escalate quickly and usually end badly. Whoever is starting a trade war will end badly in his own camp. Europe will always defend free and fair trade based on a level playing field and reciprocity. We will not be naive, but we are ready, willing and determined to business. And if someone is imposing tariffs on our aviation sector, we'll do exactly the same. Exactly the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe there is no better place for you and for your companies, 8 times the number of Luxembourgers. This is nevertheless a good place for Europe and for your companies to do business here in Europe. It's a pleasure, yes, it is, to receive this award tonight, and all of you here at the American Chamber of Commerce are yourselves building bridges, day after day, between American companies and their European counterparts. This award, in fact, is yours. Our continents have been through thick and thin together, through different political cycles, but our friendship runs deep. Just ask the people of Wiltz. The American-European friendship is not about hopes and dreams, it's a necessity. Thank you for listening.